In the first step of the proactive sales strategy, we collected a wealth of information about the company, about sales and its industry, and about the owner. At the end of that collection process, the prospective seller has an opinion of value and marketability, and based on the seller's answers to the questions in our sale readiness assessment, we have an idea about his or her goals, potential opportunities, and threats. At this point, we meet to discuss what we've learned, clarify the reasons for the range of value we assigned to the company, and probe the likelihood of getting one sale price versus another. This usually very candid discussion gives the owner information necessary to decide whether to pursue or postpone a sale, and it gives me an opportunity to gauge an owner's personality, habits, likes, and dislikes. All of these traits are important if we choose to work together toward a sale, and if all other parts are in place, is hugely important should we be able to pursue the outrageous price. Please see Chapter 8 for a discussion of the characteristics of an outrageous owner. Let me insert here a brief comment about the relationship between the range of value and the owner's decision to sell or not sell. Suppose I tell an owner that I can sell his or her company for $10 million with 100% certainty, or for $100 million with 10% certainty. The owner has a decision to make. Where along that continuum is he or she willing to sell? The range I typically provide is rarely so broad, unless there's a possibility that there's a buyer who is willing to pay twice what all other buyers would, aka the outrageous buyer. Normally, I provide prospective sellers the bottom of the price range, and I'm comfortable extending that range by one multiple. For example, I may be able to fix the bottom purchase price at a 4 multiple and the upper limit at the 5 multiple. If the owner decides to pursue a sale within these parameters, it is time to dissect all the information we collected and analyzed in Step 1 of the proactive sales strategy. The company's financial information and the owner's answers in our sale readiness assessment guide us as we put the company under a microscope during Step 2, pre-sale due diligence, to see if both can withstand the scrutiny of a buyer's due diligence. Due diligence. Due diligence as a concept is simple. Buyers despise risk and do all they can to reduce it. So during due diligence, buyers ask for every document that they deem necessary to assure themselves that the acquisitions they're considering are worth what the sellers represent them to be. To achieve that end, buyers look for any malfeasance or undisclosed material risk, such as fraud, on the part of the sellers or their managers. They look for items or issues the sellers aren't disclosing, such as unpaid taxes, pending or threatening litigation, or technical obsolescence of the company's equipment, processes, product, or service. Finally, buyers use due diligence to search for areas in which they can make immediate improvements, thus earning additional revenue, such as inefficiencies, unnoticed opportunities, waste, and mismanagement. In this search, buyers request hard evidence for every claim that sellers make, from who owns the company to how many widgets it produces, from who owns the real estate on which it operates to who its customers are, from where it is licensed to do business to whether it is in compliance with all applicable regulations. If a buyer intends to arrive at the closing table with cash, the seller can be assured that on the way to the table, the buyer will press the seller through its due diligence grinder. And that's where the simplicity ends, because on the other end of this due diligence process are sellers, men and women who have put everything into their successful companies and are now involved in not only the most important financial transaction of their lives, but also one of the most emotional. All sellers experience some anxiety about due diligence for one or more of several reasons. 1. The process of collecting and organizing data is a daunting task that many owners undertake on their own because they wish to keep confidential the prospect of a sale. 2. Most sellers do not understand the reasons for due diligence, so their assumptions about process take a significant emotional toll. 3. There are unscrupulous buyers who, with no intention of closing the deal, use due diligence to gather competitive intelligence about sellers. 4. For various reasons, the due diligence process has evolved into an enormous beast.